Welcome to the Commissioner's Report. I'm Miles Vance. The Board of County Commissioners recently committed to revising the Comprehensive Plan for Land Development. The new plan, Comprehensive Plan 2050, will be designed to address Polk County's growth for the next 25 years. Joining me today is Commissioner Bill Braswell and Ben Ziskal, Polk County's Land Development Director. Commissioner Braswell and Mr. Ziskal, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Could you start by giving us an overview of what the Comprehensive Plan actually is and how it's going to help benefit Polk County residents?
Yeah, sure. It's basically a set of policies that determine where growth happens, how it happens, what you can do on the land that you have. And like I said before, it's been 30 years since it's been revised, and it's time. We've got so many people that have moved here. Our standards need to change, and we acknowledge that.
Absolutely. And one thing that I noticed when looking through the community feedback that we received over the course of the meetings that we held was people seem to really care about the balance between environmental responsibility and also making sure that they have the best quality of life possible. Can you talk about how you balance that as part of the plan?
Well, and I'll let Ben take that. I mean, that is a big issue with us. It's balance, it's quality, all of these things have to come together in the new plan.
Right, and you know, the idea here is that this is a 25-year plan looking forward, and we know that growth is going to continue. At what rate that is yet to be determined in the next 25 years. But over that 25-year period, we're going to have more residents moving here. There's certainly a need for more non-residential uses as more people have moved here. But balancing the built environment with the environmental and natural environment is paramount to this. There's no surprise, and Polk County was hit pretty hard with the decline of the citrus industry. A lot of those acreages are now covered with homes. But the residents certainly want to protect the environmentally sensitive lands we have here, and this plan will balance that. And it will also inform both staff and the county commission on where we need to invest in infrastructure. With more development comes more needs for water, sewer, roads, parks. So this plan will also inform us to be able to budget appropriately to keep up with those demands.
And for our board, I think it's quality. You know, we talk about quality of life. It's getting more crowded. You got more traffic on the road. We need playgrounds. We need places for kids to go and all that kind of stuff. So we got to move all that together in one document to account for every square inch of this county going forward. And it's a tough job. They've been working at it for 6 months.
Yeah, the bulk of 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months. We've got another, how many months do you think?
We're going to transmit this to the state in July.
Okay, so we're moving forward, yeah.
Yeah. So talk about what we've done in these 6 months that we've been working on this, and you know, I know we're about halfway through the process, you could say, and sort of what have you heard from the community? How have you seen the community respond to this new plan? What's that like?
Yes, we've done a major public outreach efforts, and I think this all started with our partnership we have with Polk Vision, who's an organization that looks at improving the quality of life throughout this county. They did a survey and received more than 2,000 responses from residents across this county. And the top two issues that the county expressed was growth management and infrastructure. And we fed off of that and launched a website to solicit input. We received 500 more responses from the community. And then, as Commissioner Braswell mentioned, we've done 7 public workshops throughout the county over the summer and into the fall. We held workshops in all 4 corners of the county and got that input. We've also went and met with each of the city managers to make sure that we're balancing the relationship between county needs and city growth strategies. So, you know, this is going to end up being a resident in a county-wide plan, and we need that feedback. So we've synthesized all of that feedback, and we'll be presenting the results of that public engagement to the Board of County Commissioners, and then we start drafting the plan.
And to me, one of the most important parts is just trying to get the public involved. They just don't, you know, people are busy. They got their lives to live. They don't have time to pay attention to the county commission. They assume we're doing the best thing for the county, and we try. But it's great to get their engagement, pull them in, find out what they really need. Just this morning, we were talking about special needs playgrounds. You know, something that may not be on the top of your mind, but it's like, what a great idea, you know. Let's do more of that across our county for those who need them and would enjoy them.
Absolutely. Could you maybe talk a little bit more about how the county commission works with the different divisions and with the citizenry to get this done?
Well, like I said, we want the citizens' input. We deal with these guys, every week. They're the front line. When a developer comes in, he wants to do this. He meets with his staff. They vet it. They look at it, and they tweak it along with improvements that they see he could make. It's kind of a little bit of a negotiation back and forth. And then what we see, and a lot of times it'll go to the Planning Commission first, is, I guess you would kind of say, the finished product of what the developer would like to do after our staff has looked at it and said, this is what we would like you to incorporate. So that's how we interact. And then, if the Planning Commission isn't the final authority on it, then it comes to the County Commission, and we either approve it or we don't.
Yeah. And how have you found working with the commission? What are your what have you noticed as you've been working through this process of trying to build policy and trying to write this from the ground up and have that vision for the future?
Well, I think that the commission is certainly passionate about the county and the future growth of the county, and it's easy to recognize that things have changed in this county over the last 30 years, as was mentioned, but the growth that we have dealt with over the last 3 years, I think there's a unified front to do something, and this comp plan is that something, to create a new vision. What I want to explain is that there's a two-part process to this, and the comp plan is that policy guidance where the Board of County Commissioners is giving us direction on policies and where we want to go. From there, we then make changes to our land development code, and that's where rubber meets the road on what's actually built. We implement the comp plan through our land development code on how a project is designed, how much density is allowed, what types of amenities and open space and recreation requirements are allowed. So the comp plan is this policy document for the future, and then after it's adopted, we'll start to implement it through the land development code.
And one thing I want to clear up, a lot of people who, like I said, don't pay attention because they don't have time. When they do see us taking action on these things, they just think it's willy-nilly. Go to the commission, you'll get what you want. There's so much work that is in behind this. A lot of studies, traffic studies, water, schools, all those things factor in. Unfortunately, it doesn't fall in the order that most people would understand, because what happens is you've got, like Ben alluded to, all the citrus land. It's just sitting there. A developer wants to put a development on it. Well, he's not going to buy the land and move forward until he knows he has the entitlements on that property to move forward. Mm-hmm. So, it gets a little cart ahead of the horse kind of thing, and it's confusing to most people, and it's confusing to me a lot of times too. But it's the way the process works to get the guy in the direction he needs to go.
I'd also like to add that a lot of this is up to the local policymakers, but a lot of it's not, and that's a misconception too. There's a lot of state law that doesn't allow the county commission discretion. Transportation is one of the big factors. There's specific state laws and provisions on how transportation is paid for when it comes to development. So,
and this is just within the county's jurisdiction. Right. Every city has one. They decide how they're going to develop within the city limits. This is just strictly county.
Yeah. Well, looking forward, can you give us an idea of what's next, what the next steps are?
Ben?
So we'll be having a workshop next Tuesday with the Board of County Commissioners. The consultant will be presenting all of the findings of our public engagement, and then we will get to work on drafting the policies. The consultant and staff will be doing that through the spring, and then we will be running the drafts through the public hearing process. So we are anticipating a June public or Planning Commission hearing and a July Board of County Commissioners hearing. So.
And then most likely after this, we'll look at the land development code.
Yes, sir.
Is that the plan?
Yeah. So state statute requires us to update the land development code to be in compliance with the comp plan within 1 year.
Okay.
Okay, so we're pretty close to the finish line. It's just getting through that red tape and getting to it. Okay, well, thank you both for joining us today. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us today on the Commissioner's Report, and we'll see you next time.